Hello and welcome back to the second podcast that I've been doing. Apologies for the last video where I mentioned quite a few times, oh, I'll edit that out, and I didn't. I don't actually have any editing software, so I may do the same thing this week, but hopefully I won't. Less mistakes. But I've been joined with my sister, who is in my bubble, so I'm lucky enough to. She's lucky enough. Well, she's lucky enough to be able to visit me.
Yeah, alright.
It's a bit of a pain for me to go and visit her, but yeah, no, my sister Rebecca is joining me this week,
Hi
and we are going to be talking again about lockdown and how we are dealing with things, what goals we've got, what goals we've set, like simple goals and working, whether you're looking for work or you're working from home. So yeah, we'll try and keep it a little bit more entertaining this week rather than a drone like I did last week. So let's get into it. So the first topic we are going to be talking about is what goals we have set for ourselves during lockdown. So what have you been doing, Becky, during lockdown?
Well, actually, I have done a few different things that I wouldn't normally do. One, I haven't been going out every weekend, so I've managed to be saving money, which is actually really good of me, and I'm new to it.
But that's because the pubs are closed.
Yeah, I know, but hopefully, knowing how much money is going into my bank and how much I can save will persist me in not going out as much as I used to. But I've also started reading, which honestly, I didn't actually think I could do it, but I managed to finish a whole book. Like, I can read, but finishing a whole book was quite an achievement for me. And I'm starting the next one of that book series.
Okay, I know what book you've been reading, but for the viewers that are listening at the moment, sorry I have to ask this question. What book have you been reading?
Okay, well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan, and when I say a bit, I mean a lot. Where actually my brother bought me a Blu-ray player just so I could play my Blu-ray DVDs. But yeah, because I finished all the DVDs, even in lockdown, probably about 3 times.
I was going to say several, but yeah.
I thought, well, I've had a few people from work recommend the Harry Potter book series. So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go, because we got the books when we was little, and they were sitting upstairs at my parents' loft. So I thought, right, we'll get them out and I'll start reading. But I've also been keeping busy with just like tidying up the house and deep cleaning, watching Stacey Solomon stories on Instagram. And
For those of you who don't know who Stacey Solomon is, apparently she's on something called Loose Women.
Well, I don't actually watch Loose Women, but I actually follow Stacey Solomon on Instagram because her stories entertain me, I won't lie to you. I've also been working from home, which has been keeping me busy Monday to Friday. But what have you been doing?
So, as a lot of people I say most people who listened to last week, I am not working at the moment. I am still looking for work, but I get kept very busy by my 2-year-old, who will be 3 in a month now.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. She keeps me fairly busy. I say fairly, I mean ridiculously busy. But yeah, no, I am currently looking for work. Every day I'm still looking on Indeed, Reed. I've got my own LinkedIn profile with my CV on there, so people can look for me, rather than, because I feel like I spam out CVs to loads of different people, and it's a bit like I'm trying, but it's probably not to the right people. At least that way they can see me if I'm the right person for them.
It's not so much not having the right CV though. It's probably like it doesn't help with the times of everything. Like finding a job within everything being closed is going to be really hard, especially since everyone who's unemployed looking for work and people who have been made redundant, they're all going to be chasing after the same jobs, and you'll have like similar qualifications. So just working in like the range or something. I love the range, but trying to get a job there when there's already the staff there and they're staying open, but other people are applying as well, it's got to be quite difficult.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I wanted to mention, is that if you are looking for work, or you've recently been made redundant, or whatever's happened, don't feel bad for not having a job. Obviously, if you're doing the right stuff, looking for work, and you're doing all you can, then that's fine. Don't beat yourself up, because obviously the big topic last week for myself was anxiety and depression, and dealing with anxiety and depression, feeling that you're not doing enough to look for work, was very hard for me. But I know now that I'm doing everything I can to look for work, and I've managed to get a couple of interviews. Unfortunately, they didn't amount to anything, but that's, as my sister just said, hundreds of people are applying for the exact same jobs that you're all applying for. So don't feel bad if you don't get that job, because times are tough at the moment, and we've just got to try and grin and bear it at the moment.
Yeah, it's got to be hard, but at the same time, there's other things to keep you busy during the day. Even setting your own goals. I created this whole goal setting process with some girls at work, and it's such a simple process where you can literally just write, I need to make lunch today, and if you tick that off, you've achieved something. So don't ever feel like you've not achieved anything within that day. It can be that you've made your bed, you actually put proper clothes on rather than your pajamas, because honestly I'm in that process at the moment where I am almost always wearing pajamas.
But don't feel guilty for having a bed day.
Oh, yeah,
having
no,
a bed
100%.
day can be very good.
But that was also one of the goals. It was just treating yourself, ordering food, having a bed day, watching films and series, and just being crowded and surrounded by sweets, because I love one of them days. But yeah, as I said, I am working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, which when lockdown wasn't happening, I loved them hours. But now lockdown is happening, and I don't actually have to move that far to get out of bed. I've just got to step 10 paces to my desk and turn on the laptop. It's quite relieving that I don't have to get up, get changed and look presentable for loads of people, apart from maybe my top half if I've got a meeting and we have to turn our videos on. But
So, because you started your work, was it like a week or so before COVID actually went full nationwide?
I think I had about 3 weeks in the office before I had to go to start working from home. But because I was really new, I was firstly put on furlough, but then last November time, they asked us to come off of furlough, just 2 of us, and start working from home. So I went to go and pick up a computer screen and have 2 screens at home, and it was quite nice actually. Having the time off was really good, because it wasn't as strict as it is now. The pubs were still open, so I was allowed to go out and meet people, when you were allowed to have a table of 6 and different things like that. But now that we're not allowed to do that, it's quite nice to have something to take up my time. It's a bit annoying not being able to, because work's quite quiet at the moment, as you can imagine. I work for a company who supply qualifications and certificates for engineering and people who do engineering and things like that. But because schools aren't open unless they're working, unless they're allowed to do online exams, etc.
Yeah.
We're not as busy as we normally are. But I've kind of just got to sit there and take down notes on other things, and I'm always learning, because as I said, I hadn't been working there long, even though it's almost coming up for a year that I've been been working there.
You haven't
I've
really done like a full
technically
year's
not been
worth
working
of work.
a year.
Yeah.
So it was it's quite difficult even now, because I look at it and I'm thinking, I started this job a year ago, how do I not know more stuff? But then I'm always reminded by my colleagues that I'm doing my best, I'm learning as much as I can, and in the circumstances, not being in the office to ask questions all the time, because when you're in that environment with other people, when you just ask a quick question, you kind of don't see how much you're asking. But when you have to call on Teams to get the answer, you're kind of like, oh, I can't call them again. Like, I've called them like 5 times in the last half an hour.
Yeah, I get that.
But everyone's really supportive, and they're quite nice. They're extremely nice with the circumstances.
No, so that's a really good point. Because when I was working at Wetherspoons head office before, I actually got my contract expired in the December before the first lockdown. So over a year ago, one of the big issues I had was asking too many questions. But instead of asking the right questions, I was asking the same questions over and over again. Because obviously, when I first started, it was fine. It's like, yep, ask as many questions as you like, which I did. And things that I tend to do it a lot in most jobs that I have worked at, is I go 100 miles an hour straight away, and then when I feel I'm getting comfortable, I take my foot off the gas, and that's when I stop asking the right questions, get a little bit complacent, and that's one of the main reasons why my contract ran out in December instead of it getting made into a full-time contract, is because I got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah.
So I started just taking things for granted, like, you know what, it's a Monday to Friday job, get the weekends off. So
Well, that does seem to happen as well, doesn't it? Like with one of my first jobs when I was 16, worked there for what felt like years and years and years.
is that the Swan?
Yeah.
Yeah. We both worked there. It was lovely. And when I say lovely, I mean awful. It was absolute disaster.
To be fair, it wasn't the worst job in the world, but it also wasn't the best. But we also, like, with all the staff, we did become like a little family, which was really nice. But because we all thought that it was going downhill, we all kind of stopped putting in as much effort as we should have been. But that kind of, you learn from your mistakes, you learn where you want to be, but also kind of teaches you what path you want to be on. Like, do you want to be stuck in this job, or do you want to work to get somewhere? Like, not everyone has a dream job, and if you do, some people's dream job is to run a pub or to own restaurants and things like that, and that's not an issue. Like, everyone,
that's a good job to have.
Everyone can have their own dreams. Like, no one should put you down for what you want to do.
No.
Like, personally, like, I want to go into acting and things like that, but this is my first podcast, funnily enough.
And as you've probably noticed, for the majority of this, she's done most of the talking, so she likes the sound of her own voice. So the fact that she hasn't done one yet is quite a surprise.
I don't like the sound of my own voice. I actually hate listening back to my own voice, but I'm such
Just
a rambler.
waffle.
I do love to ramble, especially if I meet a new person and I've had a drink. I will speak to you for a good few hours, and you will probably learn about what I done when I was like 5 years old and when I learnt to go to the toilet or something ridiculous.
Lovely.
But yeah, as I was saying, I love acting. So recently I kind of wanted to look at what I wanted to do. So I have been actually looking at open call auditions and like where they're happening and when they're happening again.
Okay, so what, for people that don't know, what are open call auditions? Because I'm not 100% sure myself.
So basically it's a thing where you can just go turn up to somewhere where they're holding auditions for a specific part in a movie, TV show, play, whatever it is, and you don't have to have any experience. You can just go, and if they like you, then you can get a call back, you can get the role, and there's been quite a few that are posted about. There's some for just extras in Stranger Things. There are some for main leading roles in horror movies that are done by smaller independent movies.
Okay, yeah.
But it's kind of just a hard time to look at going through to that, because I've got a job where I'm getting full-time pay, and I don't hate the job. I actually quite like it, and I love the people that I work with. They're so lovely, and I don't want to kind of lose that if I can't go somewhere else, but at the same time I don't want to not follow my dreams.
Exactly, yeah.
So kind of balancing plates at the moment.
Yeah. So you don't want to have too many plates spinning at the same time. So obviously, lucky enough that's only two things that you're looking. So obviously you got your job already. You're just keeping your eye out or ear out to see if there are any roles coming up.
Yeah, just to get my foot in the door. And you say that I've only got 2 plates balancing, but I also want to have an extension on my bungalow, to have more than one room and a bigger kitchen, because even though I can't cook, I love the look of a kitchen. I think kitchens are so pretty.
Yes, no, she definitely can't cook. She actually asked me to walk round to her house to cook just her steak for her.
But he didn't.
No, because I wasn't walking round here just to cook your steak.
I actually had to take it to my parents' house so we could cook it there. But yeah, no, I can't cook, but I do want an extension. So that's like a saving money aspect as well. So that's kind of like, okay, I'll put my foot in the door for this job, but what if I don't get that and I lose this job, and then I'm left with nothing? So for the time being, I'm sticking out what I've got, but I'm also keeping my eye out for jobs within acting and open call auditions that happen on weekends, and that I can do to just book holiday days off with work.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Because that's probably what Martin did. So Martin Brooks is a close friend of mine. He has actually appeared in Spider-Man Far From Home. If you look very closely, you can see him in the charity scene at the very beginning of the film. I have watched it many times, and now that I've spotted him, I can't not see him in that scene. He was also the park ranger for us here in Leavesden, and that's where I first met him, is when I was doing work experience with him there, and a few of my friends, and
he's so lovely.
He is one of the nice. He is got to be the nicest guy ever, because considering he was meant to be a boss looking after kids, well, not kids, we were almost 18, so 17 to 18-year-olds with like sores and stuff like that,
and attitude problems.
Yeah, we weren't the most sensible 17-year-olds. Well, which 17-year-old boy is sensible? Not many. But he was really good to us, made us feel comfortable working for him. He's been a close friend ever since.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who have been extras in films around here, especially since we live so close to Leavesden Studios where Harry Potter was filmed.
Exactly, yeah.
We knew quite a few people who were extras because, well, they lived locally, and they had different contacts who knew someone else who was part of it. So yeah, it's one of them things. Like, do you have anything that you wanted to do, like in job careers?
Well, I think this is probably one of the things that I've wanted to do. I've wanted to do a YouTube/podcast sort of channel for quite a few years. And it's taken until the third lockdown for me to actually go, you know what, I've spent money on a brand new microphone and it's just sat on the side for about 3 months.
Yeah, something like that.
So I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to write something down and talk about it. So,
you know what? When you said that when I got the video, the link saying, "Oh, I've posted my first video," I stopped what I was doing and I watched it. I listened to it straight away because I was insanely proud. Like me and my friend Jess, when we were younger, we used to make videos, and we was only like 11, 12, but they were such stupid videos, and we said, do you know what, if we actually posted them on YouTube when we was 12, we could have actually got quite a few views. And I've always wanted to do it, and I thought it was quite a fun idea, and that's why I wanted to come join you today, just to get a feel for it.
Yeah, no, so it's been quite good actually. I feel a lot more comfortable this time than I did last week. Last week was, as you can tell from the way that I speak, for the majority of it, it's more sort of like, I just want to get through this as quickly as possible sort of thing.
It's kind of like a trial run though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't say, I reckon if you listen to everyone's first podcast, I don't suppose for 1 second that is...
Well, they've probably deleted it, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you'd probably come out of your shell today, I feel. I don't want to take any credit, but...
Yeah. You're so modest.
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to say, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, I don't think I did, but if anyone has any comments about just what they've been doing in lockdown, how you've been keeping busy, please feel free to leave a comment.
And some advice.
And some advice,
We
yeah.
want to know what to do.
What we can talk about next week, or in a couple of days if we've got time. So, a lot of my passions are obviously Marvel. Been watching WandaVision for the last couple of weeks, and I had to bore my parents and my sister with all that was going on Sunday.
Yeah, he spoke to us about it on the dinner table, and we were literally...
They had no idea what I was talking about. So, I might as well have been talking to the wall. And that would have given me a better response, actually.
Luna was probably listening.
Yeah, but that's because I forced Luna to watch it with me on a Friday morning. As soon as she wakes me up, that's it. Right, Luna, we're watching WandaVision.
Well, it's better than watching Moana for the 7,000th time.
No, well, she's been watching Monsters Inc. She loves Mike Wazowski. That's all she's been saying.
She sounds like Boo when she says it.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
So I think that will wrap up this week's podcast. We've been talking for over 20 minutes now. I don't think there's anything else that we were going to talk about.
We're sorry if we bored you.
Yeah. But as we said earlier, please feel free to leave a comment on what you would like to hear. Like, subscribe, ring that bell. I'm hoping to have my own sort of like YouTube, Twitter account, so I'll leave a link for that in the next video, so that if you want to ask any personal questions, then you can go straight to there rather than leaving a comment on the channel. Then you are more than welcome to get in touch that way.
But yeah, let us know what jobs you're interested in, how you're keeping busy, because it not only lets us know what you're doing, but it gives advice to everyone else who's watching it and reads the comments. And I would love some new ideas on what to do, because I actually watched the Harry Potter premiere of the last movie for about 3 hours to keep myself busy. So anything else would be good.
Yeah, so until next time, please keep safe. Try and stay inside if you can. But yeah, just keep safe out there, everyone, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.